paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, yeah, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And
I
yes,
don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Recording.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
That's exactly what I
Corbin and
said.
were just talking about White Lion last night.
That's what I said when Jason just brought it up last night. I was like, that's a name I haven't thought about in many years. we were
bankrupt or something.
We found out they had a class action lawsuit
That's right, yeah.
threatened
About
against them.
the same thing that you were complaining about? Or something unrelated?
Maybe not exactly. I'll put it in the stream or the voice text channel. You can look at it later. It's just an old ass Reddit thread. But the best part is that the top comment is a moderator saying that someone from their store came in and reported every single comment on the thread to the mods.
Because the mods love that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Somebody just made a bunch of bitch work for the mods.
Uh-huh.
I hired all those mods.
This is 7 years ago. Holy.
Yeah. Like Jason brought him up last night and I was like, I wonder if they still exist. And we Googled them and found this. But they sold cards on, you ready for this? Bidwicket. Bidwicket, baby.
Oh, Bidwicket.
I still might on Card Shark, by the way.
Bidwicket.
There's like one guy that's on it and he'll buy stuff up immediately, but like if he misses anything...
And there you go. That's your holiday tip, everybody. Welcome into Brainstorm Brewery. We hope the holidays
We had so
were
many
great for you.
good ways to cut that in, and you just picked the most awkward opening.
No, it's going to sound amazing.
For the last hour, and that's what you decided to have.
It's
be
going to
the
sound
longest
amazing because our incredible editor, JJ, is going to make us sound amazing. That's what we pay him to do.
Can we normalize something in 2022?
What would that be?
This beer was gifted to me by a longtime podcast listener, Joey D. And I'll say your name if you buy me a beer. How about that? I will talk about you on this podcast if you send me a beer and then I drink it on the cast. How about that? How about another way to validate the parasocial relationship that we have as podcaster and podcast listener is you buy me gifts and then I thank you for them publicly.
So this is like an exclusive way, a single, like no other podcast is doing this, and this is like it's a one-time ephemeral experience for Jason to talk about you on our podcast
For only $5 a year, which is 9 or 10 cents an episode. You can have access.
We should name that. We should turn it into an acronym because it's non-fungible talking. So
yeah,
it'd be what
NFT Elon.
yeah.
Thanks, YouTube.
For $5 a year, which is 9 or 10 cents an episode, you can have me say the name of you or your
loved
brand,
one?
I guess,
A
or
pet?
a loved one. Yeah, let's turn this into the cheapest cameo.
Why aren't you on
possible.
Cameo? Yeah, like, what are we doing here? Just get on Cameo. We can give them a cut.
Do you think Cameo's on Cameo? You think he's like, word up, it's your birthday? That would be sweet, man. I want a cameo.
No one knows who that is.
It's the guy who sang word up.
In 1987?
Probably 1982.
It's the cameo version of like a Prophecy foil copy of foil.
I traded a foil straight up for a Mercadian Masks foil Brainstorm.
Foil's sweet. I have one of those.
The
It's
year
not.
was
It's
2003.
not sweet, Corbin.
DJ wasn't alive when I made that trade.
Do you know how impossible that card is to list
Yeah.
on like platforms?
Yeah, but DJ, man, I don't care about that. You know? What you just described is your problem.
Mm-hmm.
That was the flaw in your logic there. I think foil's sweet.
I think having 17
Also, is
different,
foil, yeah, worse than anything else? Like
17 different Teferis?
ampersands? Do you remember ampersands?
Why does that
Ampersand
sound
editions?
racist when you say it?
Because he says ampersands. Anytime anyone has that
I can
accent,
say it with an Oklahoma accent.
you can
yeah.
say anything with an Oklahoma accent. It sounds vaguely threatening
Yeah.
to anybody with different skin color.
Yeah, have your ampersands.
Can I help you get out of town? You.
That is the right answer.
Y'all need a lift to the next town over? Yeah,
It's
there's
entirely
nothing
in
you
the
can say that
dialect,
doesn't
yes.
sound like you hear the banjo music from Deliverance in the background. You can't say anything. Don't think I've seen you before. Ugh.
You know, the thing is, that was pretty close, actually. I cannot do a real, like, Oklahoma thing unless I'm with, my, family back in the woods. And then
Your
I can
Oklahomies?
sometimes slip
What?
into it a little bit, but, like...
It would have been so easy to just call them Oklahomies.
He's done that on Twitter before.
That's gross. You shouldn't do that.
Oh, well, it feels a little cringe. But, like, it is convenient. Just saying. So anyways, welcome into the show, everybody. We hope your holidays are going well. We hope you haven't been driven too insane by your families quite yet. Pro tip, word to the wise. If you, like me, are someone who worries about being driven crazy by your family at the holidays, you need to go on the offensive, and you need to be the problem. And you need to cause them the drama, and then you won't have to deal with any of it. Because in my experience, the person causing drama is never concerned. And it's always my mess to have to deal with. So anyways, I hope your holidays are going great as well.
Isn't that phrase become ungovernable? And like if you expand it to just like be unbound by the rules of convention in your family?
Yeah, you just gotta one-up them. The crazy uncle says something about COVID being fake or COVID numbers being exaggerated. It's like, oh, you think doctors are real? You just gotta one-up them.
Right? Those 5G towers are sending out secret coded government messages. They're killing the birds. Like this thinks birds are real?
Exactly.
Wow. Way to mainline the lamestream media. Did you hear that on CNN?
I think that's just got to be the way to go about it. It just has to.
You have to out crazy people. The problem is, how do you out crazy somebody who injects bleach? Like, you think bleach is real? I got nothing, dude. Did you really just? Oh my god! I'd say get you to a hospital, but the hospitals are all full.
You're trying to argue with somebody in the middle of like a gas station, and they're like lighting blowtorches and just doing glow stick spins with with firecrackers.
Anyways, well, look, we are glad that you have decided to spend some time with us, and we've spent a lot of time getting out our frustrations for over the weekends, and I hope that you are getting a break as well, hanging out with us. So what we want to do is, by popular request, we are going to use this episode to look back at our picks of the week, our breakings, bulks, and general selections we made over calendar year 2021 and see how we did. So if you're not aware, every week we put our picks of the week into the spreadsheet, which you can be accessed if you're a patron at patreon.com/BSB. We also keep a tracker that shows the gain on all of our cards.
Oh, I just lost the game
Over the past year. And this is, it's quite fun. So, look, the way we're going to go about this is not a competition, except in the sense that Jason thinks it's a competition, but we all pick cards for different reasons. And, of course, when you look at them at any one moment in time, it doesn't necessarily mean much, right? Because a card that we told you to pick up in January of 2021 could have doubled or tripled, and if you sold it in April of 2021, you're doing great, and now it's not worth anything again, so it looks bad in the spreadsheet now. So look, it's not about numbers, it's not about a competition, it's simply about the lessons we can draw from our picks and having some fun with this. So with that stage set, let's do it. Let's dig in. And it starts with,
let's do it mean?
Let's do it. The first week of the year. Let's see how we started here. January 4th, 2021. Jason's pick of the week was Valakut Awakening from Zendikar. Mine was Cascading Cataracts. DJ's was Worldly Tutor. How do we feel about those a year later?
Well, I doubled up, so I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Cataracts was a better pick, I think, than like history has shown. Probably, like it just seems like There's already a 5-color dragon. I don't know. It's a weird land. Nobody wants to use it. I get it.
Cascading Cataracts? It's a $4 card. Yeah, it's a sweet card. And it was getting played. The thing is, they actually print what killed Cascading Cataracts was the World Tree, because Cascading Cataracts was the land that made gave you the ability to get 5 colors of mana.
No, was it like there was a land that did that beforehand, but like it's just another
with
one.
Reflecting Pool?
No, it's I want to say it's Crystal Quarry.
Crystal Quarry is where you tap 5 colors and you get Wooburg.
That's what I'm saying. That's what Cascading Cataracts does, right?
Yeah,
right. I'm talking about in competitive formats.
Oh, sure.
Because it was a thing for combo decks. That's what that honestly might have been predicated on something silly like Pioneer even. But that's what it was. But then the World Tree came out. It might have been Golos, actually. This could have been a Golos thing. This was how people were washing Golos mana in Standard or Pioneer. Or
I was going to
whatever.
say, Amonkhet and Golos were not together.
Yeah, it must have been. It's hard to look back. This is a lifetime ago.
We spent so much airtime.
I know. The point is, this was a competitive pick at the time because it did combo, but then the World Tree came out and gave people better ways to make it work. So, but either way, certainly done all right. I love Jason's pick of Valakut Awakening, though, because all of the DFCs from Zendikar have done very well, right?
Yeah, mostly. They all go in that stupid goblin. What's the thing?
Charbelcher?
Yeah, the Charbelcher deck.
That's true. Well, where are you at on a year in from this pick anyway? You loved it as a pick then. Where are you at on these cards in Commander now, Jason? Do you jam as many of them as you can still, or what?
No, I don't. I like my lands to be lands for the most part. I don't play them just cause, but like I'm not gonna pay 9 mana for a Wrath of God because sometimes it's a plains. Personally, some of those cards are pretty good. I think Balagan Recovery, whatever the black one is, the uncommon black one, I think those are like format staples. But like the big 9 mana mythics are just sort of like okay in EDH.
Seagate Restoration is a card I sell a lot of. That's the
That
max
one's very
hand size one.
yeah. That one's very good.
Yeah, it's just you draw a lot of cards. It's cool.
There you go. That's where we were at a year ago. We've got some interesting ones back then. I'm trying to remember what the world of Magic was like in beginning of 2021. We didn't think we were ever going to have events again. We thought people played Pioneer. I don't even remember what things looked like back then. But it looks like we have a lot of Commander focused picks here.
I picked Scarab God at $13. That aged well.
Yeah, at a double masters. I like that.
Well, I picked Pox at $3, but it says $12 on the spreadsheet, so that's bad for my metrics.
It's interesting because in the past, our picks kind of tended to go in the directions where I would almost always target competitive formats, and Jason would target EDH, and DJ would be, sort of a mix or any card or whatever DJ pick he has. But looking back over most of this, it just looks like we are almost all in on Commander all the time.
It's the format that matters, baby.
Mm-hmm.
It is the only format that matters.
I was really good at predicting what was going to get reprinted if you look at my picks from the year. I called some major reprints 3 months ahead of time. In fact, that would be a good use for my pick of the week if I call it stay the hell away.
Well, yeah, I mean, reprints that's always part of the risk. Reprints now are coming more often than ever. And yet cards are still worth a bunch of money. So it's just, you've got enough irons in the fire, right? Something will come through.
I've been very happy with just picking stuff that's very obvious. Like, I bought like 100 or something copies of Immerwolf. And that turned out well. I bought 20 copies of the Night of the Ninjas Plane Chase anthology. That worked out well.
You're going to make $1 million on that.
I sold 18 copies of Sakashima's Student at least $60 a piece. This past weekend.
Yeah.
So I picked like Maronar last week. That one didn't turn out great yet, but like rats it's more of like a rat card, not a ninja card. So
yeah, you want to hear one? I'm a little surprised about, a little sad. I picked Vindicate as my pick of the week back in June at $3 out of Modern Horizons 2. And what do you think Vindicate?
$3 seemed pretty fair.
It did. And what do you think Vindicate's worth?
Half that?
$1. One available at 99 cents.
Well, it got.
That's something you'd ever think you'd see.
Wait, that was when it was reprinted in June, so it hasn't got reprinted since then.
So
it came out of the gate hot at $3, and then everybody was like, there are Ragavans in these packs.
It came out of the gate at $15, right? And I thought 3 was when it had bottomed out because it had popped back up from 2. It went from 2 to 3, and I was like, oh, this is it. Vindicate. It's got to be a $10 card. And it's just died. $1 Vindicates. That's just something I wouldn't have predicted in Magic. Obviously a year ago, but ever. Yeah, you're right about the obvious ones. They just
Bloodline Keeper
they crushed.
15, Sashiro the Anointed I picked at 13, and that's 12 now, but I think that one still has a chance as soon as any word Snake or Orochi appears anywhere near the internet. Cabal Coffers hasn't hit yet. Slag Fiend hasn't hit yet. Teferi Time Raveler went to 20 from 13. That's not bad. Return of the Wild Speaker keeps getting reprinted. Hellkite Tyrant continued to drop from 9 to 6. I picked it at 9 and went to 6, and I think I bought 100 or 200 more. At 6, I still have confidence in that card.
Well, I like that you doubled down because that shows the commitment. And you lowered your buy-in price by getting more of them.
Svelun of Sea and Sky is flat. That one hasn't gone anywhere, but
give some time on that one.
I called Rooftop Storm in July reprint. Oh man.
The reprints are the source of the blowouts. You know what would be interesting?
Alhamerit's Archive.
Interesting in not a particularly useful way, but if you removed reprints from our picks of the week, I wonder what it would look like.
Why did I pick Exquisite Blood at $40?
Yeah, I was looking at that one, DJ. That was ballsy. Just because it's such a high price card that it's just
it's still $41.
It takes them 2 years to notice when a card is too expensive, and it takes them 2 years after that to
It did just get a secret lair, and then I called this secret lair that Exquisite Blood was in as my pick recently. The timer is up if you missed the window on buying the Castle Dracula. Castle Draken is a RuneScape character. Castle Dracula.
The good thing about Dracula's Castle is if you put a second copy upside down, it gets around the legend rule.
I feel good about picking Sigarda's Aid before it doubled up and come back down, but that one feels good at least. Arcana Cruelty was a good one.
I like picking Infernal Genesis at $1 and it went to 10. That felt good.
That was really
nice,
good.
Yeah.
Because people love their stupid idiot slug decks. I'm looking Quest for Ula's Temple. That one was 4 to 14.
But if we took the fact that this is the first time I've ever not won at this game, and I made my picks differently, I don't know, because I would just pick stuff that you're not going to be able to pay $3 on an abundance, sell it on eBay for 20, and then it's $10 the next week. Because it looked like I picked abundance at 6 and it was at 10 now, and I didn't make that much money. But in reality, I was picking up abundances at 2, 3 and selling them at 20.
Abundance is not a $10 card right now.
Well, according to this spreadsheet, it is. According to the spreadsheet that is calculating that you beat me at this game, abundance is $10. So,
well, for reference though, I want to mention that all of us on this spreadsheet are up at least 1,000%, and it is many thousands of percents between the three of us. So, despite reprints, despite some objectively bad picks on our part, we did all right.
I don't see any bad specs. I see a lot of very long-term specs.
Yeah, some longer-term specs. You got a chance to double up again after that reprint.
True. That's true. That is the best way to look at it. You've actually made this quote somewhat famous, Jason. When's the best time to buy Magic cards?
1994.
And when's the best time to sell them?
Never. Don't sell your Magic cards. They're just going to keep going up in value forever, baby!
To the moon.
Sustainability.
I'll give you one that I'm surprised that is down 5% from when I picked it back in February of 2021. Kodama of the East Tree.
The card's good.
The card's just
people
unreal, right?
They don't like playing with that card. Can you blame them?
That's it. You think that's it? People don't like playing with
It's
the
like
card?
a self-correcting. I don't know. I just think stuff from Commander Legends hasn't had time to go up yet because, like, again, Hellkite Tyrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just Hellkite Courser is the other. Or no, Hellkite Courser is the one I'm thinking of. But like Commander Legends stuff just hasn't had the chance to go up yet. I think.
I mean, that's a reasonable way to look at
Well,
it.
there are too many sets. When there was a set,
Yeah.
when there were 4 sets a year, sure. But like now that there are 4 sets a month.
Well, even when there were, say, 12, or even when there were like 12 products a year or whatever. But I do think you're right, where something like Kodama of the East Tree, as powerful as it is, and it's obviously just extremely good, it's still like a green 6-drop. And there's just actual infinite of those to choose from. And if there weren't, they're going to print 12 more in the next set. So how many people even are aware of some of these cards from Commander Legends at this point, you know?
There's a lot of legendary creatures from that set where you can name the first name of that card, and I just have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, like, you know, look,
There's 25 new legendary creatures every 2 months. Can you imagine somebody says like, "Oh, I built a Rickshaw deck," and you're like, "Oh yeah, Rickshaw," not to be confused with Kaikar or Rishkar or, you know. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. There's an Elaine and an Elen and an Elon and a Len. It's fine. This is fine. We love it. We love 25 new legendary creatures every couple of months. Keep us on our toes.
Yeah. I think you're right, DJ, about the Commander Legends thing, though.
I'm going through the Breaking Bulk side of the spreadsheet and reminiscing about all the picks of mine that all of you have hated.
Cool.
Every time I pick a card with a gold set symbol, Jason just has a meltdown.
What are some of your highlights?
The best card I ever
DJ?
picked out of bulk was a Gaia's Cradle, so
that was me, and there was 2 of them. Come on. Anyways, DJ, what do you got? What were some of your highlights from Breaking Bulk?
The point is, it's bulk because it was in bulk.
I did enjoy picking the Titania token, the 5/3 Elemental from the Commander Anthology.
Gold bordered Phyrexian Arena. Are you? Me? What is this?
Gold border Phyrexian Arena. It's like basically the same price as the regular one for some reason.
Just straight did no pick on June 7th. Rude.
He's gonna go type one in right now. It's always been there. Don't look up.
The Windseeker Centaur promo card from like 1995 or whatever.
Oh, I still bring that up. That was in May. I've
Jesus,
gotten
dude.
7 months worth of mileage out of that one.
Yeah.
Every
The
time
basic-
I play Chandelar and I see that card in Chandelar, I was like, "Oh, pull those out of your bulk." That card where you had to buy every novel at a Barnes and Noble and tear the last page out and send all 3 of the pages into Wizards to get a Windseeker Centaur. You know how you have a bunch of those in your bulk? Pull those out of your bulk.
DJ also not long after that goes into this is absurd, DJ. Phyrexian theme card. Hydra
Yeah, the
token.
Phyrexian theme card from Jumpstart.
Cat Dino token. Foil Young Wolf.
Foil Young Wolf was a good one. That card was
Basic Forest. DJ. I literally put into the notes Basic Forest Duck FJ. Okay? Get out of here. You know what? Your picks.
The right basic Corbin. Only one of those Eldraine basic forests is worth something, and the people need to know which one.
I didn't care.
They're gonna spend all their time and money picking out the wrong forests.
No, they're gonna pick all the forests, and then they're gonna say, "Yay!"
You used our one F word.
You f***ing idiot.
It was worth it. You know what, DJ? Your picks for the last couple months, though, I have to say, are downright responsible.
By couple, do you mean like 12 months?
No, I mean like
No,
2
we
months.
sure don't.
These are actual Magic cards over the last couple months here. Pack Rats. Well, I mean, it's a rare, but whatever, I guess.
Hey guys,
Elvish
you know how you have
Mystic.
dozens of cat dino tokens that you probably thought were bulk?
Incremental Blight, Revenge Revival. At least these are Magic cards. Let's see if anyone else has anything just ridiculous.
As opposed to just Iara without any additional line of text to say the name of the legendary creature. Just Iara. Figure it out.
Mine are all Magic cards. What's Jason got? Anything that stands out here that would have just been ridiculous? Nope, all Magic cards. There you go.
Yeah. I don't understand the point of the game clearly.
No one does. That's why it's a great game. Speaking of great games,
If we picked if we picked the 1.0 version of this spreadsheet, Jason's side would have like 6 cards in it.
true. Well, yes, that's true.
What do you mean the 1.0? What are you talking about?
The version where you take a pick that's already been made.
And then forget next week and then pick it again.
Yeah. Like if we were to just remove duplicates from the spreadsheet, version 1.0.
Hey guys, my breaking bulk is Hydra's growth. Next week, Groundhog's Day.
That was 2 months later, and I only did that once this year. You guys are so mean.
Once this year? It's just, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I always check now.
I'll have you know that part of my routine when I do this is to Control F to see when the last time it was picked was. Not if it was picked before, but when the last time it was picked was.
Yeah, your rigorous accounting method where you type in Urza's gears as the set. Yeah.
Yep.
You're flawless.
You know,
Yep.
if I pick the same cards over and over, how come it takes you guys so long to guess them? That's what I
It
want.
doesn't. I always guess it in 3 seconds and you're freaked out by it.
You're lying.
Agree to disagree.
I picked Vindictive Vampire in August. Was that bulk then?
No. That
Was
card's been
Paragon Drake-
$8 for like a year.
Well, they should be pulled out of your bulk. These are cards that are not bulk, not cards that are bulk. These are cards that everyone thinks are bulk, and then they give them to you. That's
Look, we've
the whole
got some
point.
good ones here. For those of you who aren't subscribed to the Patreon and are not looking at this spreadsheet with us, I'll just read off some highlights. So of things that I just think are great ones to find that you might be able to find. You know, look, Canopy cover out of World Wake from Jason. I think that's like a prototypical one. Bastion of Remembrance out of Ikoria. That's a recent one. Vindictive Vampire, Howpack Resurgence. These are cards you're going to find. Final Partying out of Dominaria. The classics like Diabolic Tutor. But then there's the newer
Springleaf
ones.
Drum.
Strixhaven's like Plum the Forbidden. There's been a lot of cooler new ones,
For all the
Druid
crap that I
class,
get about
this sort
like
of thing.
Okay, so for all the crap I get about picking rares, you can pick like one of each rare off this spreadsheet and turn it into like a fetch land. And like these are cards that you'll just like have in your Fat Pack box.
Well, what if you
or
get
your-
a fetch lane in bulk?
just
If
get
you
a
pick
fetch
enough
land.
of those, you get 10 fetch lanes, you can buy a duel. I'm
Trust
good
the
at this.
process.
Those are some abrupt cuts, and you're like, why is it cutting so much? Did they make mistakes? No. We launched into some topics that were a little too caliente for regular consumption. So what we like to do is we have a segment called After Hours. If you go to patreon.com/BSB and give us $20 a month, which is $4 or $5 an episode, you can have access to this handsome drinking glass, the playmats, the tokens, the stickers, I assume. We did like water bottles this year. We did flasks. A lot of drinking related stuff. And then Corbin's like, what about coffee mugs? I'm like, what about shut up? If you want those after hours, what we're doing is coming up with something called the best of after hours to entice you to buy in at that $20 level, because there's some spicy stuff in there, and it gets funny. We get off topic, and then we make each other laugh, and then you get to laugh, and you get to feel like you're part of the podcast, and then you send me a beer and I'll say your name. It's all related.
It's perfect. Well, we thank everyone for listening. Looking at 2022, one request that we've had coming back repeatedly is people asking for a return of the segment.
What's it worth?
Did you forget what the Corbin? Did you
No, but I like
did
where
you
Jason
like
was
lead
going.
into this and then look at the ceiling nonchalantly for 3 seconds while you think about what the 2 words that you were supposed to say were? Did the professional broadcaster forget how to say sudden substitution? Because that was a great segment name that had like 19 syllables.
Oh boy, sudden substitution. What was that segment? I don't remember.
That was
That
where
was-
we. This was actually a great segment that people have been asking for coming back. Look, I think one of the cool things about the podcast is we have been doing this long enough. So we've gone through lots of different bits and segments, and some of them, like from the Vault emails, get to come back every now and then. And we want to bring sudden substitution back a little bit. We take an expensive Commander staple, a la Cyclonic Rift or something like that, and give you a couple budget alternatives to replace it. We enjoyed doing it. People seem to like it. The only problem with that was that we ran out of cards very quickly. When we're coming up with 3 a week or 4 if we have a guest sort of thing for expensive cards, it's a lot of times we were just like we'd run into, well, here's an expensive Commander card. How do we want to replace it with a budget version? And it's like all these other options just suck. And that's why it's an expensive card. It's kind of like, well, that's not the best content. So we wanted to bring it back. We want to bring it back on a rotating basis here so we don't burn ourselves out on content with it, but it was a nice one. We'll bring it back. Any other feedback you have about the show or things you want to see in 2022, of course, hit us up at brainstormbrewer@gmail.com. We'll read it. We've got end of the year rewards going out to everyone on Patreon, and we're looking forward to 2022, where we will be making lots more very good picks. So looking back at 2021, what were your all's favorite moments or products from the year?
Should we have prepped this?
Well, it depends. I want to know what you truly feel in your heart, not what you feel like the most appropriate answer for the podcast is. But I will say for me, I think it was actually Strixhaven. Looking back, I'm someone who gets very into the expansion sets and drafts and the competitive side of it and all of that stuff, right?
Wow.
And for me, looking back at it on a design perspective, I actually think Strixhaven was the one I enjoyed the most.
The
The
Harry Potter
Innistrad?
set.
Innistrad felt disappointing for a
Mhm.
couple different reasons,
Yeah.
one of which is the double feature thing. Because Innistrad, the original Innistrad, was one of the better draft sets they had ever made when it came out, and that was a big thing. Innistrad was going to be great to draft. We were all very excited for it, and then Midnight Hunt was just fine, and Crimson Vow is just fine. And it's got this weird little blood sub theme that it's just a little different, right? But I thought, oh, it's okay. They're doing the double feature. And if you don't know what that is, it was a product that they originally announced was going to be the 2 sets combined, Innistrad Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, into one draftable product. And the idea was that they were curating cards from each of those 2 sets to come up with a true werewolves and vampires, and you get all of the 2 things put together, sort of because every set is a large set now, and you draft every set 3 of. You don't do, 1 Dark Ascension, 2 Innistrad, that sort of thing. The idea was that this double feature was going to be that bridge, and it was going to make this really cool experience. And then it turns out it was none of that. They actually just mixed the 2 sets together, did no curating at all, and they're just selling some more product this way. We were led to believe that it was going to be something very different than it was. And that was one of the reasons that Innistrad really disappointed for me. But looking back on it, Strixhaven did a lot of cool stuff. It did cool stuff with Lorehold. It did cool stuff with the sideboard space, with the learn mechanics. The limited was very fun. And it was a nice upbeat set, in a year of otherwise sad news in the world. So that's where I'm at.
Speaking of things that we were promised that turned out differently, how about those etched foils and the retro border etched foils and the retro border non-etched foils and the 18 other variants of every card in Modern Horizons 2? Weren't those cool? Weren't those awesome?
Like we said earlier, ampersands. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. I had forgotten too.
The monkey from Why the Last Man? What does he have to do with anything?
The coolest thing that Wizards has done this year is the numbered Viscera Seer promos.
So
For sure.
that's interesting because I've
Was
seen
that an accident, or did they put those in backwards on purpose? Like, there's no way that had to be a FOMO thing to sell those secret layers.
So look, the interesting thing about that is I also think it's kind of cool. And I like that they did it with Viscera Seer, which is like a real magic card, but not an expensive magic card or a chase magic card or anything like that. But I have seen criticism of it that doing these numbered runs of things is exactly where the sports card industry was before the crash. back in the the 90s or whatever it was.
I'm so sick of that argument. You know why the sports cards crashed? Because there were 45 companies making sports cards, and you could buy a box of it for $37 at Walmart. That's why sports cards crashed.
Also,
because
because
everybody was making
with them
sports
other than
cards.
look at them.
Yeah, nobody else is making Magic the Gathering cards except for Wizards of the Coast. So like, oh, the Beanie Babies. That's a better comparison than sports cards or comic books when there are dozens of different companies all farting them out.
Mm-hmm. Reasonable, I think. So, do you think? I mean, look, the numbered run of Viscera series here. We've talked about how if everything's special, nothing is, and so on and so forth, and all these different things just give people more options. But if there is a breaking point from the Magic community, I don't think we've seen it yet.
Magic needs to find a way to be cool.
I think this game will collapse in on itself in a 2-month period if anything happens to Magic. I can't imagine Magic being taken down slowly. Because if Magic dies slowly, I think people will backfill, Because like we haven't saturated 100% of the planet. People are still unadvisedly making more kids. So if Magic gets taken down slowly, it could trickle down, but like if fewer people are playing, then fewer people are holding cards, and I think the value would be good. I think the only reason for the only way Magic will die is if it just implodes in like a 2-month period, and I can't imagine. I couldn't even come up with a scenario on purpose on how to tank Magic completely in that short a period.
If a pandemic didn't do it.
Pandemic made the game stronger.
Remember when the recession happened in 2008, which was right when I was getting into Magic, and I remember at the time hearing the things that came out of it was Magic is recession proof, or the games industry itself was sort of not just recession proof per se, but the recession actually created more interest in tabletop gaming and board gaming and things like that because people couldn't afford to go out and drink
anything
or whatever.
else.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it actually increased things for like Magic. People go to their Walmart and they buy $20 for dual decks or whatever, right? That's what they did instead of going to the bar or whatever. So whatever all the different reasons there are, the worst recession in 100 years was a great time for Magic.
The worst recession
pandemic
in 100
years was
so far. You gotta remember that part.
True.
So the coolest thing about the numbered Viscera series is that like it is the closest thing Wizards has done to actually make Magic like chaseable and cool, like Pokemon has figured out how to do for the past forever.
You think the Viscera series are that, not anything else?
Yes. The Netflix series could be the next other thing.
Sure.
Like, the Netflix series I have
after Arcane, they might want to just not do the series.
Agreed.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's bad. Like, I don't think it has to be good to be good for the game.
I think, I agree with you.
I think medium Netflix series, this is my hot take for the year, a medium or bad Netflix series does more for Magic than an organized play system, with assuming both have equal money.
Now, what about tournaments broadcast on MTV2 in the 1990s? Follow-up question, what about the MTV Beach House commercials with Sean Hammer Rainer and Mike Long? Like, what about those? What did those do for Magic? What about the commercials in episodes of South Park where the South Park guys talked about Magic the Gathering, and then Kenny said something about, we can't understand him, his hood's pulled over his mouth. And also, he's poor, and that is hilarious to the guys from South Park. What about those? What did those do for the game?
So, like, I know Corbin gets really frustrated and, like, anxious when I say this, but, like, because he gets, like, paid for it and all that stuff, but, like, it's actually true. The Netflix series would do so much more for the game than, like, whatever organized play system that Jerry Thompson quit over. Like, that is so irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. The only things that matters is, like, growing the player base that buys cards off Amazon and, like, watches cards on Netflix and treats the game as a board game. That is the best thing for Magic.
I have to agree with you. I mean, I don't think it should be in either. Like, you're making it. I think that your statement is true.
Right. That's why it's a hot take. I worded it such that it is.
Yeah.
I think that just informs what Wizards is okay with. Because, like, in a game that wasn't set up for 90% of your revenue to come from casual people who buy their cards on Amazon and at Walmart and stuff like that, if your revenue depended on constructed play, and then Jerry Thompson staged a coup,
Right.
and then everyone's like, "We're leaving the game." That would be catastrophic. But Magic's like, "Oh no."
That was never the thing. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And we've always known that. Yeah, and we've always known that. Right? So yeah, fair enough, right? So but you're right about the Netflix shows. It would be huge. I don't know if last time I said this on the podcast, but I always think about the quote from R.L. Stein. They sold a lot more Goosebumps books once they made a Goosebumps TV show.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a good TV show at all.
It was,
how many
but
books?
okay.
How many Witcher books do you think have sold the past 5 years?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that would be great. Now, I think it's true that I think that there is almost nothing they can do that Magic social media, Twitter, Reddit, whatever, is going to be a fan of on the Netflix show. I'm sure they're going to find a reason to hate it. But that also means that it could be good for the game.
Yes, exactly. All right, so how do you kill Magic? If you were assigned to kill Magic in like a year and a half and you had like the money and resources given to do so, how do you kill Magic?
Listen to Magic Twitter and take their suggestions.
But wait, Wizards is doing that right now. Oh no.
Abolish the reserve list and watch the game fall apart in a matter of hours.
I don't think that happens.
Yes, that is our position as a podcast.
No.
The only thing, Magic's last Horcrux is the reserve list.
Yep, DJ, you're outvoted. That's its Horcrux. I don't have it. I don't think I'd have a better answer.
EDH dying will take Magic with it. Competitive play dying will not do. Competitive play dying will be bad for Magic, but casual play dying would be catastrophic.
Right.
So I think EDH is driving all the growth, but it's also drive all their greedy decisions. So I don't know.
I mean, I think that's a good point. Like, if you were given the reins to kill Magic and you wanted to do it from like a sleeper agent style of like strategy and tactics, you could just be like, we're headstrong into the competitive scene now. We're not designing for Commander. All our Commander deck building budget and precons are going towards constructed, super big Hearthstone Fortnite style gameplay. Like, I think you could do that and kill Magic. Just take like the direct opposite of approach to what I mentioned with the Netflix series and like ignore the casuals entirely. That definitely kills Magic.
That kills a lot of things, yeah. Remember Artifact? That's pretty much what killed Artifact.
Remember Flesh and Blood?
I don't remember Artifact.
Come on. Flesh and Blood is already
DJ, you can't
Artifact.
say remember Flesh and Blood until like 9 more months from now.
But they have such a thriving casual scene.
Hey, you know what? Some of the new stuff they're
Hey,
making...
they were working hard to make that game multiplayer playable. Okay. People are
Two-player
trying
is
very
multiplayer.
hard. What's that?
Two-player is multiplayer.
Good point. It's a real
When you
ultimate
bought
pit
it,
fight out
when
there.
you bought a Super Nintendo when you were a kid or an NES and it said multiplayer capability,
2 to 4.
Two.
it was just
players.
2. It was 1 to 2.
You remember the 4-player NES? Now someone's gonna be like, here's a multi-tap for the NES, and I'm gonna look like an idiot, but I'm pretty sure.
No kidding. Well,
There
now you
probably
can make an NES is like a thumb drive now, right? So
Yeah. My Tamagotchi has
you can
one
really make
computer.
whatever you want. Yeah.
Wasn't the first multi-tap on the Super Nintendo? I think it was. I don't know. Who cares? None of this matters.
Actually, I take it back. So the best thing about Magic Twitter or Magic 2021 was that one black-white creature from Innistrad where he had like the deer head. That was the best thing about Magic in 2021. The really realistic looking art guy. Hang on, let me find it.
I missed that one. You're gonna have
No,
to
you didn't.
remember. Wait a minute. Remember Faithless Looting? You all remember the
Flesh Taker, that's what it is.
Flesh Taker. Do you all remember the Mystical Archive drama?
I do. And I still don't like the art, but like I don't have to because I can just play other versions of the card, which is cool. I like that.
I'd forgotten about that one. Good stuff. Jason, what about you? What was what stood out to you from the year?
Modern Horizons 2 was a triumph because it gave Modern, which was a stale format, Because A, nobody was innovating in Modern because what's the point? You can't play Modern. But B, there weren't really products giving us a ton of Modern stuff. So Modern getting a shot in the arm.
It wasn't getting good stuff. It was getting euros.
It got in the year 2021, outside of Modern Horizons 2, Modern got expressive iteration. Like,
I don't think that's true.
I do,
Jason
and you can't refute it.
Ikoria.
Yeah. So,
Like,
Do you know how many decks have companions?
that wasn't 2021.
Was it not?
No.
Ikoria is
Ikoria's
2020, but like,
Okay, cut that then. My bad.
No. You leave that revised
Maybe not.
power
I don't
element
remember
in
that
here.
shit.
So Modern Horizons 2 gave Modern some new stuff, but it gave EDH players some new stuff, and everybody was happy. And you could buy Urza Sagas for like $11, and you're like, wee! Everything was cool for a while with Modern Horizons 2. The boxes still seem pretty good to me. Like, there's a ton of different arts, so like there's going to be one for everybody. You can get those etched foil ugly ass fetch lands for so cheap. There's so many people that are going to be bitching in a year and a half about how much Misty Rainforest costs, and they could just buy
That's
one
true.
for $25 right now. And it's
that's
just
very
like,
true.
just if we could just have one thing recorded, be like, buy your fetches now. You should have bought them when Modern Horizons 2 first came out. You didn't. But actually, they went down a little in price after that as people opened more of it because this set is bonkers. I don't want to hear you about how much Festlands cost in 2 years if you're not buying them right now.
Well, at least not for yourself, right? You should have them. I mean, this is
You,
it's
you
funny
got to
because
unpick bulk. Pick your bulk, trade it into fetches.
buy your mana base is the same advice we
Buy
gave when
your
we started
mana
in
base.
2008. When we started writing articles, buy your mana base first; it'll always go up.
Oh, you mean that thing that was good advice?
It was good advice. It still is.
How many fetch lands would you trade a refrigerator for right now, Corbin? Now that you don't want to be on the fridge side of that trade.
Now that I want the fetches, I'll take the fetches.
You would trade your refrigerator straight up, even with all the ice cream that's in it right now, for half the fetches you traded for. Yeah,
That's true.
but you made a money just trading for fetch lands like right at rotation when everybody was just like, man, I don't need.
I
this
spent a
much
year
mana."
just trading. Yeah, and to me, that story Jason's referring to goes back, and it's actually one of the sort of proof of concepts for why we do this is you don't have to just sit around and have a bunch of money to play pick of the week games or anything like that. I was in standard. I knew that fetch lands were good, and I just spent a year trading for them at F&M until I had 100 something that I just accumulated. And then when they went up in price to a price much lower than what they eventually went to, I sold like a lot to buy my wife a fridge when we moved into our house. But to me, that was a big proof of concept. It's like I literally just did this at F&M, doing my normal. I'm here to play Magic, and I'm trading. I'm trade for your fetches, right? And so it wasn't like I was a big financer at the time or anything. That was sort of my player story, just
Yeah, I mean,
anyone could do this. I did
Trading
this
didn't
at
age
F&M.
well. That's not your
Correct.
fault. Like, trading didn't
Correct.
age well, but like that was how I started too. Like, I started
Yeah.
in 2008, 2009 ish. In terms of like, I was a high school kid who wanted to afford standard at a time when Gideon Juro was $60.
Exactly.
So like, my method for those 3 years was like, I should trade in I should trade for people's bulk commons and commons at $4 or $5 per thousand, and then pick all the mirror galvanizers and palladium mirrors and like viral drakes out of this, and then trade them in for 50 cents a piece to the store, and then get my fetch lands. And that was, I realize that sounds very bootstrappy, but like that is absolutely within the range of a lot of people who complain about Magic card prices because like it's work, and work is so like pick your bulk, trade in your bulk, buy a list of stores, and do the work.
Complaining is free. Magic cards are not.
That's true.
Good point.
Well, what are you hoping to see in 2022? If you get one wish for 2022, Jason, What,
Fewer legendary creatures.
I thought it might be something like
Maybe
that.
a third of the number that you farted on us this year.
And DJ wants a third of the printings.
Not even. I mean, I'm comfortable with the printing stuff. My one wish would be like, making Magic cool is like the overarching wish in terms of like creating an established like thing that people can attach onto, like a better version of the failed Gatewatch in terms of like character identity and like just attachment to something greater than the game itself. Like Pokemon obviously does this because they look like friends. League of Legends did a really good job of like monetizing Poros and like the cuteness there. So like just like Porgs from Star Wars. Like Magic needs like they try to do it with Fibblethip and it's just it's not great. But like Magic needs a coolness factor. Magic needs like some super insane like the Heartless Hitotsugu. The Hitotsugu from Neon Dynasty is a very good step in the right direction. I love that. Where like there's the inked versions of Hitotsugu in Neon Dynasty, and they're each exponentially rarer than each other, where the red one is like in 1 in 10,000 collector boosters. That's super cool. That's a great direction for Magic to go in, because you have the $1 version for people to get, and then you have the $10,000 version that people can foam over. Like the Amano Liliano was a great step in the right direction. Like anything cool like that is just makes Magic unique and chaseable. And gives, like, people need to be able to crack open a box and, like, just let their inner degenerate gambler flow, like, Battle for Zendikar Expedition style. They burned that into the ground, obviously. But, like, when people can open a box of Battle for Zendikar just looking for an $800 Scalding Tarn or whatever, that is when Magic is at its best.
I am old enough to remember Urza's Legacy when they introduced the concept of foils, and everybody went, "What foils? What? This is what took down sports cards," or whatever they said at the time and were wrong about. And then was just like, what if every card in every pack was foil? And you're like, well, then a foil would cost exactly the same as a non-foil. And they went, exactly.
Or less
it's
if you can use it as a Dorito dip.
But it's curly.
Yeah.
So they killed foils, which is fine. But if you're going to kill foils, you need to replace them with something.
Yes.
Yep.
So, like, if they do, like, a 1 of 10 print run on some insane card and just, like, make a big deal out of it, I would love that. You can give me twice as many variant printings as Modern Horizons 2 had. If you make Magic cool again, not even again, it's never really been cool, but, like, if you make Magic cool, and I realize that's very, like, cloudy and, like, non-definitive definition, but, like, that's all I want, is for Magic to have, like, a brand name that is recognizable as like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well, they partnered with Post Malone for 2022.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Post Malone NFTs in 2022. That's some shit I can't wait to hear about on Twitter. Looking forward to it.
Well, 2022, if it's anything like 2021, we have no idea what's going to happen.
It will be exactly like 2021. You won't be able to go anywhere.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But hey, Wizards put out an optimistic sounding statement about F&M coming back in 2022. Who knows? Maybe I get to go cover a tournament in person for Wizards again. We'll see.
I do think we'll get a Star City circuit next year. I am like 85% on a Star City circuit next year, I think, and like 30% on a CFP circuit.
I wouldn't hate it. I'm available, SCG.
What would you hate, Corbin?
Hmm?
What would you hate?
What would I hate for Magic?
Yeah, you said you wouldn't hate that. What would you hate
more
for Magic?
More secret layers and no tournament card.
Oh, that's what we're getting, bud.
Yeah, I got bad news.
Did you not buy any of the secret layers from this set?
Oh my god, they're just they're free money.
I do not approve of secret layers.
You don't have a spare 10 grand to just double? Don't you want your kids to go to college?
I do not approve of secret layers. I would put my money.
You said that like you were about to do a Dr. Seuss rhyme. I got all excited. You're like, I do not like these secret layers. I do not think they're good for players. I do not think that they are fair. I do not like them anywhere.
Pretty much.
But you didn't say that because you're not the naturally funny and talented one in the group. I get it.
So that's 2021 for us. We want to know what you thought of the podcast in 2021. Remember, you can hit us up on Twitter, on Facebook, here on YouTube, in the comments. You can download our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. And remember, it's also free to share it with your friends. We appreciate that as well. So everybody, patreon.com/BSB if you want to get in on those end of the year rewards. Listen to this podcast, go right now, sign up, and you will get hooked up with the end of the year rewards. We appreciate you listening. We look forward to 2022. We'll see you then.